Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I want to go over some astrology, and also I do want to share some interesting predictions that fall underneath this lunar eclipse that we're having. Now the predictions aren't going to happen right after or right before the eclipse. These are things I'm going to share at the end of the video that are going to happen sporadically throughout 2026. Connected to the globalist. I got a big download on that. So March 3rd, 2026, I have a chart here. I'm looking at it. We have the lunar eclipse happening in the sign of Leo. Leo is a fire sign. And by the way, this is Vedic. This is not Western astrology. What makes this particular lunar eclipse different? For one, we have Leo. It's a fire sign. It's making a direct aspect to Rahu, Mercury, and Mars with a K2 attachment. And the K2 attachment is, you could say, obstructed to some degree. It's rare to see that for me, but I'm new. I'm not a long-time astrologer, and I don't label myself as being anything. But I am looking at the meanings of the planets, and that K2 really puts the radar on my eye. Yeah. Because each planet that's aligned here isn't your best combination. Let's start with Mars. It's ruled by explosions and fire. Plus you have that Leo on top of that, amplifying things. Then we have Mercury, which is all about intellect, cognitive skills, with reasoning ability. And that could be referenced into one's personal life, all the way we could expand it out to the military field. And of course I need to add cognition. And it looks like a lot of these world leaders here lately are lacking the cognition skills. They're being illusionized. And then there's some that are put here to do exactly what you're seeing taking place right now, whether you like it or not. But K2 is special. Not necessarily in a good way, the way it aligns with this lunar eclipse. Because we also have a blood moon, by the way, worm blood moon, but I'll get into that a little later. The K2, think of it as the death card in tarot. The K2 represents transformation, one's transformation. However, in this combination, it also represents separation, evaporation, and death. When I say death, I mean just that, death. Now, you know, we don't sugarcoat it on my channel. And I'm not into the conspiracy. I'm just going to tell you bluntly how I interpreted the chart and what I get through my third eye. Now, I almost forgot to mention Rahu. Rahu is very significant here too, because Rahu brings in chemicals. You know, chemicals, nuclear weapons, we'll just say nukes. So on March 3rd, 2026, we have Moon and Ketu in the fire sign Leo, with Rahu making rounds in between the Moon, Sun, and Mercury. Not a very good combination, if you want me to be honest with you. That's why I'm on here making a video. Not a very good combination. I know that. And I'm just a very entry level in astrology. I had a good teacher in New York. I'm still learning, trying to expand my astrology in Vedic when I get free time. I don't always have free time, but I know that this is not good. So look at it like this. We have the lunar eclipse on March 3rd, and then 17 days prior, we had the solar eclipse that came in. Now, what I speak on is not factual. It is for entertainment purposes only because YouTube said so. What do I think could happen next? Just looking at the planetary system and my own channeling. Well, I'll share with you what I think could happen. Doesn't mean it is going to happen, but it could happen. Very strong possibility. Think of it as global cycles. What do I mean by that? Catastrophic blast, escalation beyond control, and one's chain reaction out of control. And that's very critical, the last part of that chain reaction. One small thing, and somebody else is like, no, hell no, we're going to make it bigger. And then the next person's like, I'm going to top you. It just, whew, man, so much energy there. And also it means to expect, as it has already started, the East Asian regions and the Middle East entering a severe period of instability. Of course, it's already started. It's just the start. Think of it as Leo equals fire. And if you want me to be honest, when I look at the charts and what I feel, when I look at the calendars, I love numbers. Not always, but March 3rd through March 27th, it's a red flag for me. Any time after that is a red flag, but especially the next 3 weeks, next 12, 24 days. And I never say I'm afraid to say something, but I am afraid to say it. But I'm going to say it because during that time frame, what I see and what I feel is evil, retaliation, missiles equipped with biological chemicals. You ever heard of the word warheads? Warheads. I spoke on this August of 2024, and my video is up on my community page. I go into great detail about this event. Certain chemicals, mustard gas and sarin, which is spelled S-A-R-I-N, those two agents are nerve agents, actually. And everybody's going to say that if it's not a nerve agent gas, and it may not be that at all, it could just be an explosion of some kind, people are instantly going to say, well, okay, it's Iran is going to do it. Well, we hit Iran first to some degree. I'm not going to get into why we did, how we did, and if it was right or wrong. I'm not going to get into that part. That's not my job, dears. My job is to tell you what I see happening and a warning. But we could see Israel using something if they feel like they need to, the IDF. Of course, I do not see the United States or Israel necessarily using some type of chemical warfare. Now, I don't see them going that far. Well, Israel possibly, but it won't come from the US if they do that. I will say that. Yeah. It would just be some type of horrific attack, maybe on Iran, that would knock out a lot of things at one time. That's possible. But in my prior readings, that's not exactly how I got it. I was shown back in 2024. I speak on it being Iran that retaliates, actually, and would hit Israel and would go underneath the ground to penetrate in some way. And of course, this is going to bring out terrorist attacks in the United States, over in Europe, in the UK. I get something with London and Britain. That part of the UK is significant to me. I don't know. I haven't seen what it is, but I just put out a prediction. I said Austin, Texas is going to get hit in some way connected to a terrorist. And that did happen 24 hours later. I made a validation video on that. Horrific. I don't want these things to happen. I do not want to see them happen. I wish they would not happen, and I was wrong every time. Believe me. I don't want to see misery, treachery, darkness, war. which in exchange brings death. I don't want to see any of that. But when we're tuned into our third eye, we see these things. We see them. And you don't even have to be labeled a psychic. You could just be an everyday person and just have intuitive thought. You could be an empath, feel other people's pain. It's horrific. It's hard, especially in times like this when you have those extra sensories going on. Some people say it's a gift, and sometimes I say, yeah, it's a gift. Sometimes, guys, it feels like a curse, you know? If you want me to be completely honest, at the end of the day, what I really worry about is the atmospheric, the chemicals that spread through the air, and then the explosions and things that can take place underneath the ground, and I think I said that, and I have talked about Israel multiple times. They're going to experiment and go underground in Israel. And I was getting Jerusalem and Bethlehem, the religious sectors over there. And the United States, as I said, parts of Europe, even Australia, I see terrorist attacks happening sporadically. And I worry about the chemicals. You have to keep in mind there's at least 8 Middle Eastern countries that are already involved, being hit. It's, I think, mostly attacking the American military bases and British military bases, because the British bases are getting hit as well. And I had spoke on, could have been Saudi Arabia. I found the video, I think it was Saudi Arabia, and I said 2 or 3 months ago that I kept seeing an oil refinery being hit, and it would cause all this black smoke to emerge, and they're getting hit over there. I don't think there's been any type of oil refinery, but I mentioned the black smoke. So I believe, based on the astrology and what I'm feeling and what I was getting back in 2024, there could be some chemical use or some type of nuke that causes huge explosions. In the next 24 days, starting tomorrow, March 3rd, something significant, I believe, is going to happen. It may be stopped in time. That'd be great. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? We could pray for that. But I do believe something is going to happen that's going to change the course of everything, in my opinion. Okay, so I have my chart lined up for March 3rd, and I want to talk about the blood moon. It's actually worm blood moon for March 3rd, 2026. It will be visible across America, but it's going to be visible around the pre-dawn hours, depending on where you live. I'm on the East Coast. You have Mountain Time and you have Pacific Time. You can look it up. I'm sure you can get that. But the areas that are going to be covered in this particular eclipse, again, will be, I have down the Pacific, Australia, and East Asia, which is Middle East, East Asia. And you can see this in the morning time. And then somebody asked me when the next blood moon would take place. Well, it's not going to be visible here in the United States again until June 26, 2029. So it's going to be 3 years. So now I'm going to get into the predictions. I'm going to grab me something to drink. Okay. I was getting something with Swiss Bank. And it is connected to the Rothschilds. You know the Rothschilds, right? There's something dark about the monies that have been held in those accounts. That's going to come to light. Now, it's not going to happen in the next 2 weeks. These, I think, are just sporadic. But in 2026, this is going to come out. I do believe that. And I'm going to share something. So close your ears if you don't like me cussing, because I do it sometimes anyway. I kept hearing the globalists are fucked. And then I heard on State Street, globalists are effed, and then State Street. That's what I heard. The next thing I was getting, the 95-year-old man, Soros, S-O-R-O-S, will lose his 7.2 billions of dollars. Now, this guy is a Hungarian American trader, I do believe, but he's into the deep. and he's about to be exposed and lose his money. He's 95 years old, but you know what? There's no limits when you do evil things, apparently. That's what I'm getting spiritually. If you are familiar with stocks and bonds, you may understand this prediction. Berkshire, Berkshire, I have Berkshire. The stocks connected to this organization are going to crash. They're just going to crash. Right now, they may look good, things look okay, but I'm being told in the next 3 to 4 months, those bad boys are going to crash. They're going to go all the way down, and there's no bringing it back up. And then Mr. Buffett, I keep thinking of that song. Buffett's assets, and I think Buffett may be connected to the Berkshire because I have it all down as one. The Buffett assets will be exposed. I'm pretty sure that that's a man, a masculine around that, Buffett. And I'm getting that he's going to lose everything, so including the stocks and the bonds connected to Berkshire. If you guys can make anything out of that, leave a comment under my video, please. Bill Gates will go down, losing everything. I guess the antibiotic he tried to slip in his wife's drink several years ago, didn't work. And then I was getting an organization, a large company connected to New York. Guys, these are huge globalist businesses, and I'm very leery to even mention them. BlackRock. This company is connected to BlackRock. I keep seeing this company being raked over the coals. Raked over the coals is how I'm getting it. And there's going to be a link to the deep state. I think we all know that. I'm talking about the evil ones. We've got good, bad, and everybody. But this is going to be connected to the deep dark. And also I was getting a connection with them wanting to keep the Ukrainian war going so they can take over parts of Ukraine. And I know there was rumors about that, but I'm also getting it here. So there's going to be some information about all of that took place underneath Joe Biden's presidency. I'll switch over to my water here. A manufacturer in California will go down. And this is weird because I got a name for this one, buddy. The founder, I need to watch out how I say this, right? I'm just going to say his last name is Islam. He is connected to a scandal, and part of the company name is Walton. Walton and Brothers, Walton. Like the Waltons, that TV show used to come out. Waltons. But the owner, his last name is Islam. So there's a scandal, something connected to the dark, that's going to come out about that organization or company. Because when I hear things, it's through clairaudience, right? And I can get it all, and then I try to go back and see if I can get a repeat, and I don't always get a repeat, or it's the word variation changes, so I have a hard time. Okay, guys. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, the globalists are going to reset. They're going to reset and they're going to collapse, and they know it. But they're going to plan something big before that happens. Of course, we know that. They always try. And I believe that we need to get ready spiritually. And the mindset, we need to get ready. We need to do it now rather than later when things really get crazy. Do it now. Pray to the higher good. Pray to God. I believe in God. Whatever you worship in a lighter sense, right? That brings a high vibration, that brings love, that brings the white light. You need to align yourself with that now. Because when you start having power outages, let's just say that, or your TV screen starts going off, you have an EBS announcement. I'm not saying these things are going to happen. I'm just saying you want to be prepared in case they do happen, because I'm not fear baiting. You want to stay focused on the higher good, God. You want to stay focused in that white light, no matter what. Do not lose your focus off of the good. I know people are in different religions. Again, I'm Christian Orthodox. I believe in God. And I want to mention that I myself am going to Miami in a couple of weeks with my family. And it's something that was already planned, something I really did not want to do, but my daughter is graduating from 2 years of college before she goes to big college. And it's something she wanted to do, and so we did it. And I have to practice what I preach and not live in fear. And we're still going to go to the venue. It's a large venue. It's large. It makes me nervous because of everything that's going on. I could say, nope, we're going to lose out on that money, we're not going, but my daughter is set in stone. She wants to go. It's her choice. She is almost 20, and I don't want to live in fear. Even though all this stuff is going on, I'm not going to live in fear. So if there's something you want to do it. Just be cautious. All right, guys, I'm done.